Hi, we're Biologists. I'm Jeremy Starks.
I'm David Miller.
This week we're going to talk about a controversial subject. We see a lot of conversation on social media about this, and it's the elephant in the room, and that's using bait or hunting over bait. Now, Dave, you and I talk about this all the time. We see guys getting slammed on social media, oh, we're hunting over bait, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. It can be positive if done properly. And that's the key. We're going to give you some scientific facts and explain to you how it can be beneficial and also tell you how it can be harmful.
You know, some of the things you need to just be aware of or be careful of is if you are putting out supplemental feed or bait, to do it consistently. Don't just put it out and then stop it. A lot of people, you know, like we had talked about, some people will, at the beginning of season, they'll start to put out feed, and then the end of season, they'll just cut the deer off. That is extremely bad for them.
And it's all about being gradual.
Yeah.
And with us, we're consistent with, we have one property we just left actually, that's got our #1 hit list deer for the year. And it's a place that we've used feeding and food plotting for several years. And we've seen a huge increase in our deer herd, the quality of the deer herd. But we also realize that there's certain people that can't go out and they don't have the ability to put in a big food plot where feeding can really augment and increase the carrying capacity of the land. So before we talk and we slam someone on social media, let's learn the facts. You said it a while ago about the cornfield.
So many people they'll go out and plant hundreds of acres of corn or soybean and have no problem hunting over that. But then when somebody puts out a bag of corn, they're
jumping all over,
giving them a hard time.
But make sure if you are going to use corn, we're going to talk about why it can impact them negatively. And deer have microbes, and they use that in their digestion process. Well, those microbes adjust to the food source. So if you rapidly change the food source, those microbes don't have time to catch up, and it can really be harmful to the deer herd. We talked about acorns. Explain to us what we discussed there a minute ago.
Yeah, when a big storm will come through and it will blow a lot of acorns down all at once, it can be really hard on a deer herd. But you know, the key is if you're going to introduce supplemental feed, you need to do it gradually
and consistently.
Those are the two main.
If you're going to put corn out, one thing that will be more beneficial to the deer is to scatter it. Don't just dump it in a pile.
That's exactly right.
Let them gradually use it. Feed into it.
It's a more natural form of feeding for deer. You know, they don't just, an acorn or a oak tree don't just dump acorns in a pile on the ground.
Right.
It's a gradual, you know.
And then they're going to feed at it. They're going to get a little bit of food introduced to their system gradually over time. And the same way when the corn runs low, they're not just loading up on it all at once. But make sure if you're going to just put corn out, make sure you make it beneficial to the herd, and you're going to do it year round. Give them a food source, use high protein mix with the corn. Now this time of year, you can actually go to more of a carbohydrate, which is corn, because that's what the deer are requiring starting into hunting season. Through the summer, we make sure we use protein mix. So, but we're using feeders, we use gravity feeders, and we keep them full. Don't let those things run out, especially in December, January.
Yeah.
Don't use it all.
That's when they need it the most. You know, you want to carry them into the season when the vegetation starts to mature, you know, into your April area. Don't cut them off in January when they've grown dependent on what you've been doing all year, or you know, throughout the hunting season.
And don't just use it as a means to kill that animal. Try to benefit the herd. That's what we try to do with all of our feeding programs and food plotting. But make sure before you slam that next guy on social media, learn the facts, know the science behind it, and try to be more consistent and be a good steward of the environment. Feed those deer year round if you're going to do it at all.
Yeah, get out there and enjoy it.